Education plays a vital role in shaping our future. It equips us with knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities. By pursuing education, we open doors to better opportunities and enhance our understanding of the world around us. Exercise offers numerous benefits for our bodies and minds. Regular physical activity can help strengthen our muscles, improve cardiovascular health, and reduce stress levels. It's recommended to engage in at least 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week. When traveling, it's essential to pack smart. Make a checklist of the items you need, including your passport, toiletries, and clothes suitable for the destination. Don't forget to double-check your travel documents and arrive at the airport early.
Eating healthy is important for our well-being. We should include a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains in our diet. Avoiding excessive sugar and processed foods can help us maintain a balanced and nutritious eating plan. The weather can be unpredictable. One day it's sunny and warm, and the next day it's rainy and cold. We need to be prepared for different weather conditions, so we can dress appropriately and plan our activities accordingly. A single research study rarely gives us enough certainty to say that its results will always be true in every situation. Instead, research is an ongoing process. It's based on many different findings and explanations that, when combined, help us understand educational matters in general. Over time, these understandings lead to the development of theories. In order for a culture to exist and work properly, people who belong to that culture need to follow its rules and norms. This means they should want to obey and fit in. To do this, they first need to understand and accept the norms and values that define what's considered normal in their culture. Where a restaurant is located in the city can greatly affect how well it does. Once a restaurant is set up, it can't change its location. It can only try to make it easier for customers to reach them. Restaurant owners often argue with local authorities about providing parking spaces to make it more convenient for their customers. When writing a book, the author needs to choose how to arrange and organize the content to match the reflective nature of the work. The book often repeats and builds upon ideas about research, theory, and practice as the story unfolds. The colors used in old-time photographs were influenced by the dyes and pigments available at that time. These colors had a big impact on the overall look and feel of the photos, reflecting the style and period in history they belonged to. Blue whales are the biggest mammals alive. There are different reports about their maximum size, but Antarctic blue whales have been known to grow up to 100 feet long and weigh more than 150 tons. Sadly, their numbers have drastically decreased due to whaling activities. In our bodies, tissues come together to make organs like the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. Each organ has a unique shape and is made of different kinds of tissues that work together. For instance, the heart is mostly made of a special type of muscle tissue that contracts in a rhythmic way to make the heart pump. Two sisters were at a dinner party when the conversation turned to upbringing. The elder sister started to say that her parents had been very strict and that she had been rather frightened of them. Her sister, younger by 2 years, interrupted in amazement. "What are you talking about?" she said. "Our parents were very lenient." Using more than 50 interviews, award-winning writer Danny Danziger creates a fascinating mosaic of the people behind New York's magnificent Metropolitan Museum of Art, from the aristocratic, acerbic director of the museum, Philippe de Montebello, to the curators who have a deep knowledge and passionate appreciation of their collections. The Office of Personnel Management was the target of the attack, but data from nearly every government agency was stolen. U.S. investigators say they believe Chinese hackers were behind the breach. Not a lot is known about how the transportation of goods by water first began. Large cargo boats were being used in some parts of the world up to 5,000 years ago. However, sea trade became more widespread when large sailing boats traveled between ports, carrying spices, perfumes and objects made by hand. The findings of modern research support the view that the evolution of primitive men and its culture should be regarded as unity. Yet this unity is exceedingly complex, and future research will doubtless enable us to make finer distinctions between the periods that people composed it. The bill calls for the establishment of the National Landslide Hazards Reduction Program within 1 year of becoming law. The program serves numerous functions, including to identify and understand landslide hazards and risks, reduce losses from landslides, protect communities at risk of landslides hazards, and improve communication and emergency preparedness. The findings of modern research support the view that the evolution of primitive men and its culture should be regarded as unity. Yet this unity is exceedingly complex, and future research will doubtless enable us to make finer distinctions between the periods that people composed it. A total of 5 ozone ascents were taken at Indian Mission Antarctica from April to June 2016. As stratospheric temperatures reduced to -82.24, -82.24 degrees Celsius, on the 20th of June 2016, indicating the formation of stratospheric clouds. It seems that language appeared from nowhere since no other species has anything resembling human language. However, other animals do possess basic systems for perceiving and producing sounds that enable them to communicate. These systems may have been in place before the appearance of language. Scholars build their own personal libraries to support not only particular projects but also general reading in their field. They buy or make photocopies of materials when possible, so they can consult them frequently, mark pages and write annotation on them. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States. While often thought of as one illness, heart disease is actually an umbrella term that covers a range of heart conditions. It includes diseases of the blood vessels, including coronary artery disease and peripheral artery disease and so on. As technology keeps growing, political and economic leaders have utilized cinema in changing and shaping people's outlooks either for their own benefit or for the benefit of the people. Computer and smartphone-based treatments appear to be effective in reducing symptoms of depression, and while it remains unclear whether they are as effective as face-to-face psychotherapy, they offer a promising alternative to address the growing mental health needs spawned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Categorization is the brain's tool to organize nearly everything we encounter in our daily lives. Grouping information into categories simplifies our complex world and helps us to react quickly and effectively to new experiences. The tropics are becoming hotter due to a combination of warming associated with deforestation and climate change, and that can reduce the ability of outdoor workers to perform their jobs safely. Researchers are estimating how many safe working hours people living in the tropics have lost due to local temperature change associated with loss of trees. There were various explanations for volcano behavior before the structure of the Earth mantle as a semisolid material was developed. For decades, awareness that compression and radioactive materials may be heat sources was discounted, and volcanic action was often attributed to chemical reactions and a thin layer of molten rock near the surface. The word radical, from the Latin word for roots, means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problem by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness. The word radical, from the Latin word for roots, means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problem by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness. Engaging in hobbies provides a much-needed break from our daily routines and allows us to pursue activities we enjoy. Hobbies can reduce stress, boost creativity, and provide a sense of accomplishment. Find a hobby that brings you joy and make time for it regularly. We believe in the inherent value of research in the humanities and social sciences. And our research data agenda is given by the pursuit of new knowledge that will be of benefit of Australia and the world. We offer one of the most comprehensive programs in the humanities and social sciences in Australia and the Asian Pacific region. COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why. When countries assess their annual carbon emissions, they count up their cars and power stations, but bush fires are not included, presumably because they are deemed to be events beyond human control. In Australia, Victoria alone sees several 100,000 hectares burn each year. In both 2004 and more recently, the figure has been over 1 million hectares. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of U.S. farmers and wage earners. Modern buildings have to achieve certain performance requirements, at least to satisfy those of building codes, to provide a safe, healthy, and comfortable environment. However, these conditioned environments demand resources in energy and materials, which are both limited in supply, to build and operate. In every cultivated language there are two great classes of words which, taken together, comprise the whole vocabulary. First, there are those words with which we become acquainted in daily conversation, which we learn from the members of our own family and from our familiar associates, and which we should know and use even if we could not read or write. The central idea of this book concerns our blindness with respect to randomness, particularly the large deviations. Why do we, scientists or non-scientists, hotshots or regular Joes, tend to see the pennies instead of the dollars? Why do we keep focusing on the minutiae, not the possible significant large events, in spite of the obvious evidence of their huge influence? The most significant difference between an eating disorder and disordered eating is whether or not a person's symptoms and experiences align with the criteria defined by the American Psychiatric Association. The term, disordered eating, is a descriptive phrase